Okay, today we're looking at what I call clicks, and we start with a song. You are bigger than what people say, Jehovah. You are bigger than what people say. You are bigger than what people say, Jehovah. You are bigger than what people say. You are good. You are kind. You are bigger than what people say. Okay, today we are dealing with clicks, not necessarily the retail outlet, but we're looking at languages with clicks. And you can see that Damara Nama, Tota, Zulu, Ndebele, and Yeyi all have clicks. And I find them very interesting, particularly when the Damara Namas in Namibia, when they speak. I listen very intently because, of course, my language, which is Ibibio, does not have clicks. But it can also be a means of otherness. In other words, to differentiate people. Of course, languages are able to do that. And if you look at the account that we're looking at, the account that we're considering today, which is Judges chapter 12, verse 5, you have this war between the Gileadites and the Ephraimites. And language was used to do a separation between the two. Because let's look at the account. The Gileadites seized the fords of Jordan before the Ephraimites arrived. And when any Ephraimite who escaped said, let me cross over, the men of Gilead will say to him, are you an Ephraimite? If he said no, then they will say to him, then say Shibboleth. And he will say Sibolet, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they will take him and kill him at the fords of the Jordan. There fell at that time for the 2,000 Ephraimites. And the only way in which they could distinguish between the two of them was how they pronounce Shibboleth. So the person will deny that it's not an Ephraimite because, of course, they were on the losing side. And they will tell him to pronounce the word and they pronounce it wrongly. So basically what we need to realize is that God intended this, not the killing, but God intended this diversity, so that we do not, of course, we know this goes back to the Tower of Babel, but God still wants unity and diversity. He doesn't want us to put each other to the sword. And you see this clearly in Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Be kind and affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in order of giving preference to one another. So even though we have diversity in terms of language, racial origin, tribes, and so on and so forth, the binding factor should always be love. In fact, this is the way in which you can distinguish those that are believers from those that are not. So all of God's children really need to exhibit love in spite of our differences, because the differences would always be there, and God deliberately made those differences, and He still wants us to have that kind of unity in spite of the diversities that we have in the world.